Guys, welcome back to the training sessions and thanks for giving me leave yesterday, right? I mean, I was not feeling well at all. Thank you for understanding. And I think we were discussing about execute SQL task where I was not feeling well and I don't know what I have explained you guys and I was completely into a different world, not here in, I was not concentrating in the session. So I'll do one thing. Let's start with execute SQL task and quickly let's go through it once again and then we'll jump into the next tasks that are available in control flow. Shall we start? Okay. Execute SQL task, as you all know, this is used to execute commands like you can go for even insert commands, delete commands, truncate commands, select statements, alter statements. You can write any you can execute single statement or multiple statements. So if you ask me what is meant by statement, I will call this as statement. Select star from table or insert into. People who don't know SQL Server, let me know. I'll explain a little bit about SQL Server too if you want. Insert into table values, some values, 1, 200, something like this. So this is a statement. So I can have one single statement or multiple statements in one execute SQL task. Okay. When you're going for multiple statements, there is one condition you have to keep in mind. Remember, when you're going for multiple statements like this, I have 5 statements here. So for every statement, I have to separate like this. There should be a separator saying that this is the end of the first statement, second statement, third statement, fourth statement, and so on. And it is not mandatory that you have to go for all insert statements or all update statements or all delete statements and so on. It can be one insert statement, one truncate statement, and one delete statement. So you can go different statements in one execute SQL task. You can try all these things at home as part of your practice. And one important thing to remember here is it can return only one result set. That means you can have only one select statement. If you have, whenever you are having one select statement, remember that should be the first statement always. So that should be the first statement and remaining statements will follow like this. So the first statement will return the result set to your variable, whatever variable you are going to use, and remaining statements will be executed and either insert or update or delete or truncate the data in the table. So now let's see the different properties and how to connect and how to set the connection and how to execute statements and how to read the data and so on. Let's have a quick look at the implementation part. So this is the execute SQL task with which we played in last session, and I was sleeping, and that is why I don't know what I have explained. The first and foremost thing that you should know is result set. What is XML? So whenever there is a option in SQL Server selecting table into XML. You can use for XML. There is a command in SQL Server which will convert the output into an XML file. So if you are going to use that kind of queries, you can go for XML format, or else if it is not going to return any data, like insert statement, will it return any result? No. Update statement, it won't return. Delete statement, it won't return. Truncate statement, it won't return. So for all those kind of stuff, you can go for none. And whenever it is returning a single row like if you're going for aggregated data, or you are going for select top one result, select top one star, or if you're going to get select count of rows, it will return only one row. It will be 100 rows, 200 rows, 300 rows, 1000 rows, or whatever may be the number of rows that are available in the table. Let's say like this, select count of star from table name will return the number of rows that are present in the table. It will be either 100, 200, 1000, 10,000 and so on. So in that case, you can go for single row, whereas when if you're returning more than one row, like it's a table, then you'll go for full result set. So let's start with the full result set, how we can retrieve the data from the database. using select statement. And you can see this is what there are different kinds of connections you can make, like OLEDB1, sorry, Excel, OLEDB, ODBC, ADO, ADO.NET, and SQL Mobile. So if you observe, Excel is pretty clear. It's a connection manager which helps you to connect to the Excel file, whereas OLEDB and ODBC helps us in connecting to what is that? Relational databases. So the full form is like for OLEDB we call it is object linking and embedding database, whereas ODBC is open database connectivity. So DB means database, O means open, and C for connectivity. So these are two different providers. These two different providers which have its own way of connecting to the databases. And ADO, it's earlier versions. Before .NET there was ADO. When the .NET is introduced, it became ADO.NET. ADO means ActiveX Data Object. So whenever you want to connect to those, see, these kind of requirements will not come into picture. And just I'm giving you a little information about what is ADO. To connect to the ActiveX Data Objects, whereas ADO.NET, it's a .NET provider where you can connect to the databases. And SQL Mobile is for connecting SQL Server compact editions. And I've never used or seen people using this SQL Mobile. But when requirement comes, you have to go for this. So what you have to do when the requirement comes, you have to select that. And if you go for new connection, it will give you a pop-up window for what are the information that are required to connect to SQL Server compact edition. So this is just a connectivity. If you know how to connect to one type of database or using one provider, the remaining thing will, for the remaining, it will be the same case with little different in parameters that you have to pass. And Shiva, RDBMS means Relational Database Management System. That means all the two-dimensional databases like SQL Server, Oracle, MS Access, all those database servers will fall into RDBMS. Now, the next property, I have selected OLEDB. The next property is giving connection. Already I have given connection in last session. But for you, I'll do it again. I'm going to the new option. I'm giving localhost, and I'm connecting to AdventureWorks DW database, and click on OK. Now the connection is set. What is the next option? What is the next option? Next option is providing the query. You can provide it using a direct input, or a variable, or a file connection. Whenever you say if it has direct input, then you have to go like the direct statement here. Shift home, select star from dim product. So this will return data to me. So the second option is through a file. So file connection. If you select it as file connection, then that means you have that query somewhere in some file. Let's say I'm storing that one in desktop. I'm storing a file in desktop and I'm naming the file as query. The spelling is wrong, don't worry much. So I've selected the option file connection. That means the query is somewhere in the file. Go on connect, and so that you can get the query. So now I have to go and point to that file. I have to go to the desktop, and I've named the file as query or something. It's misspelled of query. So here it is. If I select this, whenever this task executes, the query will be, whatever the query that is available in the file will be fetched. Okay. And the bypass prepare means whether it has to prepare the query before executing it. Generally, you can set it to false. It will not create much problem. Now, everything is set, the full result set, and the next thing is I have to assign the value that I'm gonna get. Let's say I'm gonna get one table. It's gonna return some 100 rows or 200 rows. I have to assign it. I have to return the data to somewhere, to some variable, whatever it may be. So here, in this case, I am returning the value to the table data variable, and this variable should be an object type. Why? Because you can't fit a table into a string or integer or floating or any kind of database. Let's execute this. Hopefully it will not throw any error. Let's see. Okay, it read the data into the variable. That means it is reading the query from the file and it is executing the query and it is returning the data and assigning the data to the variable with the name table underscore data, which is of object data type. Now the data is read into some variable which is of object type. So I can't directly show that object type. I can't pop up that object type, right? So what I'm gonna do here is, in last session we disabled it after having a quick look at this. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna loop through that object. You know, for each loop, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna loop through using ADO enumerator. You can see the table data, and in variable mapping, I'm gonna map the value. What is the first column in dim product table? It is product key. I can't show, I can't use path. Why? Because it is string. So I have to use product key, which is integer data type, and I'm assigning the index that is 0. That means first column value that is present in the table will be assigned to this product key whenever it loops through each and every row using this for each loop enumerator. Now in script, I have to modify it. I have to pop up product key, right? Let me pop up the product key. I think it's something else. So I'm popping up product key here. Okay, build is successful. Let me close this guy. Click on OK. Now let me try executing this. So the first product, second product, third product, fourth product. So what I'm doing is I'm looping through the complete row and I'm getting only one value, that is product key. 8, 9, 10, 11, so and so on. If I go, I think there are 606 products. I have to, the pop-up will come for 606 times, which is very difficult for me to close. So I've stopped it. Now let's add one more thing, like product key is assigning to this variable, and I'll use product. I think it is of string type. What is the table? I mean, what is the column number? I don't know the number, so let me go to SQL Server and write the select statement. Is it 5, Swati? Let me check it once. Why? Because I have to run it again and again. So connect, sorry, new query. I'm going to AdventureWorks DW, select star from dim product 1 0 1 2 3 4 5. Thank you very much. It's correct, 5. So let me give the index as 5. That means the fifth column value will be assigned to the product variable. Now in this script task, I'm gonna pop up both. So let me select the product here, so that I can, if I don't select here, I can't make use of it in my script task. That is why I'm selecting. And edit the script task. Okay. I'll do like this. Product ID. I'll concatenate it. Just like I'm creating a string, just like in SSRS we discussed, right? In the same way, product ID 1 product ID 1 and product name is, I'll do like this. Product ID is, I'm concatenating that, and product name is, okay, I'm concatenating product here. So I think the spelling is product. So if you see this, I'm creating a string. Product ID is, and I'm concatenating the key value, that is ID value, and product name is, I'm concatenating the product, whatever the name that I'm getting into the variable. Okay. Now let me build it. It is successful. Good. Let me close this and let me click on OK. And so product ID is 1 and product name is adjustable race. Product ID is 2 and so it's very interesting, right? You can try, you can practice, you can try different things. It's not one single option, whatever I'm explaining here, just like in SSRs. So you can try different things like popping up like this, or instead of looping, you can try something else. Okay. Let me stop this. Why? Because I'm getting more records here. Now, we discussed about how to get a single, one single table into an object and looping through the table and popping up the values. And now let's see how to filter the data. So I'm using file connection, right? So better let me go for direct input and let me give this select star from. Why? Because I have to go to the file and edit the query again and again. That's why I'm preferring to have a direct input. Where what is the column name? Product ID, right? Product ID is less than question mark. So here in OLEDB, Excel, and you have to give question marks. Even in ODBC, you have to give question marks. And I think it's in ADO.NET where you have to specify @parameter name. Okay, but here you have to provide question mark. So I've given a query select star from dim product where product ID less than question mark, but where that input will be provided to the question mark. So for that purpose, we have parameter mapping. So this parameter mapping is used to provide the information like what will be the value for the question mark that you have provided in the where condition. So let me declare a variable, or let me check whether I have any variable which is of integer type. Product key is an integer, right? I can use of product key. I'm using product key. I'm taking this is an input variable, and you have three different options for the directions. One is input, one is output, one is return value. So we are going to discuss about all these three shortly. And next thing is numeric value I'm going to pass, and this is 0. I told you it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. The first question mark will get 0. The second question mark will get 1. The third question mark will get 2. Fourth question mark will get 3, and so on. So now I'm saying to the server that this product key value, the variable value, will be the input to the query. Okay. Now let me try different values for the product key variable. Let me go to variables. Product key, currently it is 0. Let me set it to 5. I set it to 5. Let me execute it, and as per me it should get only 4 records, but it failed. Invalid column name product ID. So it's not product ID. I have given the statement is wrong. I think it's product key. So let me change the column name. This column is not available. That is why they're product key less than question mark, and the question mark value will be passed using the parameter mapping, the variable used in the parameter mapping. Now product ID is 1, it is adjustable race, 2, 3, 4, and after that it should not return. Why? Because the variable value that I have given is 5. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass 10 for the product key. Now if I execute this, it will loop through 9 times and return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 products information. Why? Because the input value is 10. And how to add more parameters? Like if you go for one more question mark, as I showed you in last session also, and product key is greater than question mark. So the first question mark is less than and second question mark is greater than. The query is for greater than. So I have to pass the value for this one also. So how I can do the parameter value? It will be 1. As it is second one, and it starts with 0, right? The parameter mapping, the parameter name. So it will become 1, and the variable I will select. This is the biggest problem. Always this table will come very, with the column with very less. So you have to expand this every time. So the column name is count. The count value is 5. You can see here. Sorry, count value is 10. So let me select the minimum value, which is an integer data type, and it is having a value 5. And this is also numeric. This is also input, but the parameter name is 1. Let me click on OK. Now the database should return only 6, 7, and 8, and also 9. So it is getting product 6, product 7, product 8, and product 9. So this is how you can go for a question mark, a parameterized query in execute SQL task. Now let's quickly have a look at, you can try the remaining queries like insert, update, delete, and so on, and you can also try going for single result set. Okay, let me quickly go through the stored procedures. How can we execute? Why? Because stored procedures is very, very important. Generally people don't prefer to go with select statements or insert statements. Here they'll go for stored procedures. Now let's see how to execute the stored procedures and what is the different return types that are available. Let's have a quick look at it. So I'm connecting using OLEDB. Whenever you use ADO.NET and ADO, then this will be enabled. Is query stored procedure or not? I'll show you the difference. Okay, what is the option and what is the main difference? Why the property is getting enabled? First, let me connect and create. We need a stored procedure. Let me create a stored procedure first. People who don't know about the stored procedure, please raise your hands. Okay, good guys. Now let me create a stored procedure. I'll name it as test, as a simple select statement. So I've created a basic stored procedure. This is the basic one. Oops, it's already available. Something I've created. So test underscore SP is the stored procedure that I've created, and it will be executed like this. You can execute like execute stored procedure and so on. This is one way, or in SQL Server you directly execute with the name. So what it will do is it will go and it will execute whatever the functionality that is there as part of the stored procedure, and it will retrieve the result. Now, if you go for select OLEDB and AdventureWorks, right? Here you have to give the stored procedure like this. Execute test underscore SP. So it will execute and it will return the result. And for ADO and another one, I told you, right? ADO and ADO.NET, this property will be enabled. Is query is a stored procedure, and if you select this one as true, then you don't need to specify this execute. That's the only thing. If you set it to false, then you have to specify execute the stored procedure name, even in ADO and ADO.NET providers connection types. Okay. Now, apart from this, as it is returning a table, it don't require any inputs, right? This is not having any input, so I'm removing these inputs. And apart from this, it will be as is. It will be returning a table, and the table data will be assigned to this variable. And once it is assigned, it will loop through using the looping container. The object will be looped and it will return all the data. Let's see. The product name is coming fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So what is happening now is it is executing the stored procedure and it is returning the data and assigning to the object variable, which is looping in the container for each loop container and getting the data in the script task. So this is how you can use stored procedures. Now let's see how to pass parameters. In the same way, how I have passed for a simple query, how can we pass parameters for a stored procedure? So to pass a parameter for a stored procedure, you have to define a stored procedure with parameters like @product key integer data type, where product key is less than @product key. Now if you observe this stored procedure, it is taking one input value, product key, and it is using that product key, the parameter, in the query. So from next time onwards, now I compile it. Now from now onwards, if I try to execute the plain stored procedure, oops, I deleted it. It will throw error. Why? Because it is expecting some input parameter. I have defined a parameter for this stored procedure, and it is expecting the parameter now. So if I provide the value here, like let's say if I provide as 7 as the input parameter. So this 7 will be applied to this, and this will be used in the query. So the query will become select star from dim product where product key less than 7. Let's see. If I execute this, you can see it is getting only 6 records. Why? Because the 7 is taken as input and filtering the data. Now the same thing can be applied here, like in the same way how we have applied for select statement, set one question mark, and in parameter mapping, map the parameter. I'll go for minimum value. Minimum value is only 5, right? So I'll get only 4 records. It will be easy for me to close the pop-ups. So let me go for minimum value. Its input, it's a numeric one, and I'll name it as 0. Now if I execute this, the stored procedure has to take the input value, that is 5, and it has to loop through 4 times. It has to return 4 records, and which will be popped up in using the script task. So this is how you can use you can provide parameter values to the stored procedure. So if you see here, I've shown you a very basic or simple example, I can say. So when you understand the concept, whether it's a basic example or complex example, if you write 100 lines of code in the stored procedure or 1 line of code, that doesn't make any difference. Your intention is to understand how to call the stored procedure with parameter and without parameter, right? So this is how we can do. Now, one last thing that we have to discuss in this execute SQL task is return values. There are 3 different input types. If you see, we are trying only input. Parameter mapping, the direction we used only input. There are 2 different. One is output, another one is return value. So where we are going to use this? We can't use this in select statements. We can use this only in stored procedures. Stored procedures will have output parameter, and second thing, it also has return value. Let me show you what is that output parameter and how the return value will be used. So when you create stored procedure, while creating the stored procedures, you can go for output parameter. Let's say, comma, I'll create a new stored procedure, create procedure. I'll name it as test underscore BP. Last time I've given SP, right? So it will take one input value, let's say. I'll call it as prod key integer, and one output value, prod name, okay, as varchar of 100. That means variable string type of 100, and I'll name it as output. So there are 2 variables, sorry, 2 parameters. One is input parameter and another one is output parameter. So here what I'm doing, I'm writing the functionality for the stored procedure. I'll do one thing. First, I have to set some name for this, right? I mean, that is an output parameter. We are not gonna, I'll explain you what is the difference between input parameter and output parameter. Input parameter, the value will be passed from the calling environment, from where you're calling the store procedure, from there you'll get the value. And output parameter, the value will be passed to the calling environment. In our case, it is execute SQL task. Okay. Now, let me write a statement in such a way that it will assign some value to the product name. I'll just set @prod name is equal to Rupesh is not a trainer. I've set it. Oops, it's not double quotes. It's single quotes. Okay. Rupesh is not a trainer is the prod name I have set. And return value, you can return some integer value. Remember, you can return only integer value. You can't return any string or something like that. Let's say I'm returning 71. It's a number. So if you see here, there are two different types, right? One is return value and another one is output. So this output refers to the output parameter, whereas return value refers to the return value. So if I execute this guy will take one input value, that is product key, and it is not going to do anything. There is no functionality involved here, and it returns 71 in integer, and it returns also the product name. Okay, let's see how to configure this. So now, what is the stored procedure name? Test_BP, right? So test_BP is the stored procedure name, and this is input parameter, and we have one more parameter, that is output. So you have to specify it as output. You know, this is an output parameter and you have to specify it. This is output parameter, and return value will get here. Question mark is equal to, that means the return value will be sent to the question mark, the first question mark. Okay, this question mark will get return value, this question mark is the input, this question mark is the output, and always while providing the parameter, the first one should be the return value if you have return values. Okay, so I'll set this return value to count. Count is an integer data type, right? I'm setting to this count. I have to specify this is a return value, and the data type is, let me set it to, it's integer 32. Let me set it to long, and type parameter name is 0. That's why, because that's the first question mark. What is the second one? Second one is input. So I have to provide some input to that. I'll take minimum value. This is an integer, right? I'll take this. I'll set it as input, and I can set either long or numeric here. And the third one, oh sorry, I have to specify this as 1. This is my input. And the third one is output parameter. Output parameter is a string. So do you have any string value? Product name is a string. So let me use that product name variable, and this is output. And this is varchar type, and this will be second one. Okay. Now all the three are set. Do we have any result set? We don't have any result set. So let me close this guy. Fine. Let me disable this. Why? Because the result set will be empty. It won't, there will be nothing to loop, right? So let me execute this and see whether it executes successfully or not. Obviously not. The error is nothing. I have not changed the result type. I told you, right? It is still full result set. It should be none. I'm not gonna return anything. I'm not gonna get any table as a result set. I'm gonna get only return value of the stored procedure and output value of the value of the output parameter. So if you execute this now, it should be successful. Let's see. I've clicked. Okay, and it is successful. That means it is getting values. It is getting the output value and also it is getting the return value. If you have any query or if you have any doubt about that, then I can add one script task here. Let me copy this guy and let me keep it outside. Okay, here it is. Copy it to this, and I'll take it from here to here. So what are the two parameters that are what are the two parameters I'm using for result set, return value and output value? One is count, one is product name. So I'm gonna use these two to pop up whether it is getting the proper result or not. So let me uncheck all. One is count and another one is, what is another one? Product name. So let me click on edit and modify the script as per this, as per the new parameters. So the first one is count, the second one is product name. I don't know whether it's caps or not. Let me give caps and let me build it and close it. So if I execute this, it is showing product ID is 71. The one I'm returning in through SQL Server is 71. And the product name is Rupesh is not a trainer. This is what I'm setting to the output parameter. So this is how you can make use of return value. So when you will use return value, when the complete store procedure executed successfully, then you can return something. Okay, return 1 if it is successful, and you can compare the same. If it is 1, okay, go and proceed for next task or do something like that. So you can make use of the return value in that way, in that cases. Okay. So this is about complete execute SQL task. And if I missed anything like a single row or what else? Yeah, I think single row or multiple statements in your query string, in your query, then you can practice it at home. So let me disable this. Why? Because we are done with this one. And next thing is, let's see execute process task. So this task is mainly used to process an executable. What is meant by an executable? All exe files, you know, right? .exe extension. All exe files we call it as executable files. You can execute only one file, one such executable file using this execute process task. Okay. Now let's see how to do that. So double click, process. You have so many parameters here, but in all the cases, not all the properties, not all the parameters will be used. The first one is require full name. That means whether you want full name to execute it or not. If you don't provide full name, or if it is not available in the path or the name that you have provided, it will fail. Okay. And second thing is executable. What is the executable you want to provide? I want to execute something. I want to execute, let's say, executing a notepad, opening a notepad, or opening an Excel file. You can provide that. And the argument means there will be command line command line codes for few things like WinZip, zip, WinRAR files. When you want to zip few files, then you have to provide command line. You have to provide arguments. And working directory means where that file is, or what is the working directory. Okay, what is the working directory where that executable file is gonna work on? That folder we call it as working directory. And standard input variable and standard output variables are the variables like if you are calling an executable, let's say VBA code, sometimes some VBA exe files. You need to pass some input variables, and you need to pass some you will get some output variables. So you can pass, or you can read the output variable using these two options. It's not the case for every executable, and This is very rare one. We will use it for zipping and unzipping the files. Apart from that, we are not going to use this much. And fail task if the written code is not success value. So every executable will return something. That written code is not matching to the written code here. The success value I have given it to 0, right? If the written code is not 0, then it will fail. If the written code is 20 and I know that written code is 20 and I will set the success value as 20. If the written code is not 20, whatever I'm gonna get as written code is not 20, then it will say, man, this is failed. Why? Because I'm expecting 20, but it is not returning 20. I don't care whether it is successful or not. As per the developer, the written code should be 20. If I set it to 0, that means the written code should be 0. Few cases, for few things, the written code will be 1. For few things, written code will be 2. You need to know all this stuff. Okay? And if you set it to false, it won't check that. Let me set it to 0. If you set it to false, it won't check that condition. Whatever it is returning is same as success value or not. It won't check that. If you set it to true, then it will check that. And timeout. It will check for timeout. Let's say if it is 0, then there is no timeout. If it is 12 seconds, then it will say it will wait for 12 seconds and then it will timeout. If this property will be enabled only when this timeout is greater than 0. Okay, not a non-equal to 0. And if it is enabled, that means do you want to terminate the process? I'll wait for 12 seconds. After that, do you want me to terminate or not? If you set it to false, it won't terminate, else it will terminate and say, man, this is failed. So the timeout is crossed and it is failed. And window style is how you want to open the window. Let's say an executable, if you click on executable generally, it will open and it will go next or something like that. You want to open it normally, means default one, or maximized one, that means it will be shown to you. It will be maximized and it will be visible, shown to you on your desktop, just like how it is now, the execute process task editor. Minimized means it will be minimized. It will be here minimized and you have to click that to open and see that. And hidden means it will be hidden. It will be doing in the background. It will not be shown. Now let me take a simple example first and let's go to the next complex examples. So notepad is an exe. If I give notepad.exe and if I execute this, it will trigger that notepad.exe and it will open notepad. You can see the notepad is open, right? And you can, this is just an example for exe, how it triggers. Now, I've set it to maximize. That is why it is showing as maximized. Let me set it to minimize this time. And I think I have excel.exe. Let me click on execute. Oops. The path is not found. So I have to point to the path. I don't know where the path is. So let me take a different example. So there is one zip unzip 7z. I've taken it as I've installed it just to show you an example. I'll take you to that exe file, my computer, program files, 7zip. So this is an exe file, 7zip.exe file. What it will do is it will execute and it will zip the files or it will unzip the files. Okay. Let me show you what the arguments you have to give for zipping the file. I think what is that? zip, and you have to provide what is the destination folder. Okay, with what folder name or what destination file you want. I'm gonna zip one file and show you how to do that. Let me take this file, query, I'll rename it so that it will be easy. Query.txt file, I'm gonna zip this. So what is the path where it is present? Properties, it's in desktop. So here first you have to give the destination. So in desktop, make it as query.zip, and then you have to provide the source. The source is query.text. I'll copy this to a notepad just to show you how the command is. So this A is its command, tzip 7-zip command, and tzip means T and what format you want. I want it in zip format. So zip is zip, and C dot make this zip file. C dot in this part in desktop make it as query dot zip file, and what file you want to zip. I want to zip this file. This is my source and this is my destination. Okay, this is my source and this is my destination, and I'm providing it to archive it to zip folder. I want the zip extension should be zip. Okay, now everything is set. Let me change it to query, query. Let's see. I don't know, I'm not sure whether it works fine or not. Okay, it is saying successful. You can see the query is zipped. And if you double click on that, you can find query.file. So this works fine if it is only one file. Here only one file, query.zip, and hence it is working fine. What the case if I want to do the complete folder? A complete folder I want to zip. Let's say this piggy folder. I have some pictures in it. I want to zip this. And create a zip folder. So for that, here in the destination, if you see, I set only path. Let me expand this so that you can see the complete query. And let me minimize this guy. Okay. Now you can see A-tzip. This is the destination I am looking for, and this is the source. Now I'm not gonna give any particular file. I'm gonna give all files. All files means star. That means all files with all extensions. And working folder means where is that folder? Where is the folder in which this is gonna execute? Where this exe is gonna run. So you can select that piggy folder here. So that this means in this folder, go and zip all the files that are present. If I specify .jpg files, only JPG files will be zipped. And where it has to zip? It has to zip into some piggy folder. Create a folder called piggy in desktop and pull all the files from this folder, whatever the folder that is given in working directory property. Now if I execute this, it will go through each and every file in that working directory folder, and it will create a piggy for zip file. And in that you can see all the photos that I had in the main folder, and also the text file whatever I have in the. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 photos, 9 pictures, and 1 text file. Let's see whether you have the same here or not. You do have. Okay, so this is how you can zip a folder or you can zip a file. And where you are going to use this? What is the use of this? You can use notepads, you can execute anything, but where you are going to use this? In real time, whenever you are moving the files to the archive folder, you need to zip that folder. Generally, people zip that folder. Once all the files are moved to the destination, okay, after data transformation is done to the tables, they will move all the files to the archived folder. So you need to archive it. So for that, this is the best option. You can archive it. You can make it a zip folder, right? Without any extra effort and any manual intervention. So that is one beautiful advantage of using this execute process task. And you might be thinking like how to know all these commands, arguments. whatever I have provided as part of the arguments. How you will know that? Just I searched it. 7 zip commands. So you'll get some commands like this. So here you can see you'll get a lot of examples. Okay. So an assignment for you guys. Similarly, you'll have a command line for unzipping the files. So as part of your practice, try that. Unzip it and send that application to me. I want you guys to download either WinZip or WinRAR or 7-zip. You can try with anything. Even WinZip commands or WinRAR commands, you can just simply search for WinRAR commands. So WinRAR manual, you will have manual and you will have all the command lines. Command line interface. You can see all the command lines will be available here. So here he has given an example. Example is not there. That is the syntax. An example will be somewhere here. You have to search for it. So install any one of these WinZip or WinRAR or 7-zip, 7z-zip, and try to zip the files and unzip the files and send that solution to me so that I'll review it. So I've disabled the execute process task 2. Why? Because I'm going to take the next one. The next one I'm going to take is script task. There is nothing much to explain about script task. We have used it many times and I'm going to explain the same. I'm not going to explain anything new here. Why? Because people who knows .NET can only understand the script task. The script task is mainly used for custom functionality. So if you see here, this bulk insert is meant for some task. Data flow is meant for some purpose. Analysis service DDL task meant for some purpose. In the same way, execute SQL is meant for some purpose. So every task is meant for some purpose, and when you don't have any task for a particular requirement, then you can use script task for custom coding, for custom functionality. You can use script task. So script task is like it will provide a .NET page where you can write all the functionality. Okay, .NET class file or what you call as to write all the functionality. You can do magics with the script file. You can do a lot of things. If you want to loop through and if it is not possible in let's say in any of the tasks, control flow tasks, then you can use it. You can connect to the database. You can loop through all the tables, or you can join 10 tables and get the data. You can do whatever you do, whatever you are able to do using .NET. Okay, and I have worked one complete project, one complete SSAS project in script task. You believe me, it's only script task where I have written some thousands of lines of code. It's using which creates an SSAS solution or SSAS cube dynamically. So it was you can't do that with any of the tasks that is available here. You need to have script task for that. But I'm also telling you that's a rarest requirement. Like once in 1,000 projects, you'll be getting requirement like this. So let's see. Let us know about what is this, the script task. Okay, read-only variables means if you want to make use of the variable in your script task, then you can set it under read-only variables. Let's say if I select count can be used in my script task, in the execution of the script task. Whereas read-write variables, if I select any one thing under read-write variables, I can write back the value. Let's say the product is having default value as test, and in the script task, I can assign some new value to that. I can assign a new value like new product name or whatever I wish to. So read and write and read only, that's the difference. Read only means I can just only make use of those to read the data, read the value that is available in the variable, whereas write, I can write back the data. And here if you go to this, here this is called namespaces, right guys? .NET guys, I forgot .NET. I used it 6.5 years back, something around 6.5, 7 years back. So some not namespaces, what we call it as .NET guy, Kalaivanan. Come on here. What is this? System.data namespaces, right? Okay. You can refer to the namespaces. There is one namespace using ADOMD, in which thing it will come. ADOMD system dot analysis services. Is there anything like this? It is not there. You can add analysis services. You can add whatever the DLLs you want, reference kind of, and then you can write all the functionality here. And people who knows .NET, I think they don't need this explanation, and people who don't know .NET, I think they don't need it. So in both the cases, you don't need it. And generally what you will do is you'll write the functionality, like you can connect to the databases, you can connect to analysis services, you can write a code to process the cube from here, or you can insert data from here, or you can do some calculations, everything. Let's say you are looping through the table and you have a script task inside there. Whatever the record you are getting, you will be getting sales tax and another sales tax and sales amount. You can calculate some new value based on this in the script task. So it's like more giving you more power to do your to write your custom code, which is not possible using the existing task. So a similar task is there, a similar one, but for legacy systems or old systems, 2000 DTS systems, that is ActiveX script. If you go here, let me disable this. This is mainly for VB. You have to write VB code here, and this is mainly for 2000 DTS packages. Let me write VB script language, and I don't know VB script. Let me try something. I've seen it somewhere. Main function main. I've written a lot of VB code in SSRS, but here I don't know what to write. Message box is there, I guess. Let's try. Message box end function. So I've ended the function here. So the next property is entry method. There will be so many functions in the code. What is the entry method? The entry one, the main one is main. So if I click on OK, it should work. It is not working. It is throwing some error here itself. So an error occurred while adding something. The manager. Oh, no, this is a problem. There is, I mean, if you execute this, you will get a detailed error. An error occurred while adding the manage SSIS type library to the script host. Verify that the DTS 2000 runtime is installed. This runtime is not installed, so I have to download and install it. So see, the script task, just try to understand what this task is meant for, and you're not going to use this unless you are migrating 2000 DTS packages, and you need to know VB script for this one. So whenever you have written some functionality, custom code in your DTS packages, and if you want to migrate it to your SSIS packages, then this is the replacement for such kind of task, and you will use this to write custom VB code, which is an migration part, which is under migration part. Generally, you're not gonna use this here in new packages. So if you ask me how often you use ActiveX script and script task, the script task is very frequently used one. You'll be using it, and whenever you want to debug, and if you don't know what value you are getting into a table or something, you can use script task. Or apart from that, script task is quite commonly used one. Whereas ActiveX script task, it is only used whenever you are working on migration projects, a very rare case. Now we have discussed about a lot of tasks here, right? And let me enable this guy back, and let me see whether it is still working or not. What is the last status? Okay, I'm executing at this point, so I'll enable this. So these two should fetch me result. Why I'm enabling this one is I'm gonna show you about a concept in SSIS. Why? Because we have very less time to cover another one. So what I'm gonna explain you here is about breakpoints. So you can see when you right click on any task, you will find the breakpoints. So the breakpoints will have 10 different options. That means it will break and it will wait for you. The breakpoint main purpose is it will wait for you and you can debug it. What is the value and what is the blah 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 and so on. So let's say on pre-execute event, that means before the start of the event, it will check for pre-validation, right? That time it will execute. It will wait for you. And on post execute, that means at the end it will, on error, if you get an error, it will be, it will keep the execution on hold, or on warning, if any warning, or on any information task fail on progress, when it is progressing it will be on hold. So there are 10 different options where you can set the breakpoint and you can see what is the status of the variable and whether it is executing properly as expected or not. So I've set the breakpoint on in 2 cases, and let me set the breakpoints here also. In the same way you can set the breakpoints. I'm setting for the post execute and pre-execute, and if I execute it now, first it will hit the breakpoint. That point of time you can have a look at. If you go to debug Windows, there is a locals option. So where, let me close this output. Okay, where you will get all the locals information. So if I click on execute, then it will go to post execute. So at the time of post execute, the execution of the task is completed and it is ready to release the task. Means it is ready to go to the next task. That time you can see what is the values of the variables that are available. You can see the minimum value is 5 and maximum, the new path is test, and like that. Table data is system object, and username is so and so. You can see the status. You can see the status of the variables, and this will help you while debugging the issue. If you get an error like, okay, this task is failing, so this task is getting value from here. So if you want to know whether the value is getting properly updated or not, then you can go for the breakpoint and you can check the status of it. Now if I click on execute, it will go to this one, and it is at pre-execute. It is not at started, it is at pre-execute. And if I click on next, it is at post-execute. That means the task is completed and it is waiting for releasing the task, and it is completed, the total, right? I mean, sorry, a pop-up is open. Let me close this. If I close this, it will go to the post-execute. Now, if I click on this, it will release. So if you want to know the status of a variable at any particular point of the execution, then you can go for the breakpoints. And how to release the breakpoints? Right click and edit breakpoints, and check these two. And right click, edit breakpoints, and if you see, you can set the hit count as some value, or hit count equals to, that means whenever you set the hit count, like for loop, while going for loop, it will hit the same point again and again and again. So for that you can set some value. If the hit count equals to this many number of times, then only do this, then only stop there. Hit count greater than or equal to the value that you are going to give here, or hit count multiple of this one, like 2, 4, 6, 8, and if you give 2 here, then whenever the hit count is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I'll show you that class. What in that case it will be stopping for the execution. Now let me right click on this for each loop container, and you can see one extra thing at the end, break at the beginning of every iteration of the loop. So if you set some hit count here, delete, I'm setting 3. Okay, now I'm making it to hit this one. Instead of this one, I'm disabling it, and I'm gonna make this guy to hit this for each loop. Enable, and I'm gonna disable the script task. I don't want to show anything, and let me give it as query. Select star from dim product, and no input output variables. Let me remove this, and result set. I have to set the result set, right? Result set type to full result set. I'll set it to 0, and it is, what is the variable we are using? It is table data. So the table data is used in the for each loop there. So if you see this here, oops, I clicked on something. Sorry guys, I'll tell you. So now I have set it for looping every time. It has to loop through. Sorry, if you see that, edit breakpoints, you can see at the beginning of every iteration. So whenever it loops through, and you can find out what is the value at that particular looping point and what record it is on. And whenever it loops through, in every loop, you will get what is the value of a particular variable. You can see that. And they have provided different watch windows also. If you go to the debug windows, watch, in that there will be windows. You can use these windows also. Whenever the execution is still on, then you can, 1 second. You can get the values of the variables, or you can go to the locals where you can get the values of the variables. Let me restart it. So it hit this, and what is the variable name? Tell me one variable name. Count. If you see, click on count, it will give you the value of the variable. So at this point of time, the value of the count is 10. Or if you have any variable for which the value is continuously changing whenever the loop is going, whenever the loop is happening, then you can check the value of the same in the, I'll show you some variable. Yeah, product value will be changing, right? Let's see. Product. So product value for at the first loop is adjustable base, right? Now it is bearing ball. Can you see that? Now it is BB ball bearing. Now it is hand headset ball bearings. So you can get the value, and whenever using these breakpoints, you can identify where the error is. It really helps in debugging, and these breakpoints plays a major role in programming languages, in particularly like .NET and all. It really helps the developers to debug the issue. And here also, if you know that there is some problem, then you can find out by having some breakpoint. Okay, here I'm at this point, I'm in this particular place. What is the value? Why I'm getting error? So for these kind of stuff, you can go for breakpoints. And if you want to edit breakpoints, or if you want to remove the breakpoints, just edit it and click on uncheck this and click on OK. So this is how you can go for breakpoints. And this is the breakpoints concept. And Kalaivanan prepare a document on this. Kalaivanan or Shiva, who is the left one, prepare a document on this one. Okay. That's it for today's session, and in tomorrow's session we will discuss about analysis service task and bulk insert task, and data flow we will take it separately. It's a very big one. And data profiling task we will take, and we will also discuss about checkpoints. That is very, very important, the checkpoints. And if you observe in every task, if I go to edit, in every task you have expressions which we are not touching. What is these expressions? We are going to discuss in next session. Thank you very much guys, and have a nice day. Bye bye.